If I had to choose 10 fragrances to give a perfect 10 out of 10 rating, these would be some of the ones I'm picking first. So like always with videos like this, when it comes to, making my selections, typically what makes it in the video are the scents that are at the top of my mind. These are the first ones that I think of when putting together a video like this, which to me kind of says something. Because trust me when I say that if I continue to rack my brain and to poke around, I would be able to come up with many more that I would give a perfect rating, because I do have a ton of fragrances which are perfect to me. But these are the ones that I thought of first. So like always, I'll link everything down below if you have any interest in doing any shopping. We're gonna get things kicked off with the first one that I thought of. It's Valentino Uomo Intense. Kind of gearing up for the fall and winter mindset a little bit with this one, because here coming up probably in a good month and a half, I'll probably start wearing this one from time to time as we get, middle of September, somewhere around in there, when you start getting the lows in the morning and evening, and some of the daytime temperatures can start to cool off a little bit. I might start going for this one a little bit here and there. This one is all about the iris and the leather. Smells amazing, and that's what I love about this, the introduction of leather into this kind of sweet powdery iris DNA, which is pretty popular. That's what's different about this compared to Dior Homme Intense and a few of the others out there. It still does have that powdery sweetness, just with a bit of a masculine edge as well, which is welcomed in a scent like this. The price point on this one has remained pretty consistent, at least within the past few years, right around $100. There was a point where you could get it for a bit less, but it's always been, on the upper end of things. It was never really necessarily an affordable alternative to Dior Homme Intense, because they were usually pretty close. Something like Gentleman Eau de Parfum for the longest time was known as a more affordable version, but even that has gone up in price a bit over the years. But for me, $100 is more than worth it for this one, and to me it is a perfect 10 out of 10 scent. There's not a single thing I would change about this one. I love everything about it, and I wish that they would honestly come out with like a Uomo Intense Parfum or something. They're giving us so many flankers within the Born in Roma lineup. Just take this and tweak it a little bit, make it a bit heavier, add some boozy notes or some tobacco, or, figure out a way to kind of bring this back into the spotlight again. I think that would be a great way to go, and a lot of people, at least in the community, would love it. This next one is a niche fragrance from one of my favorite niche brands. It's Mancera Intense Cedrat Boise. So I've got a couple from the brand that I would consider to be perfect 10s. This is one that is at the top of my mind. It's one that I just love. I love wearing this. But also Tonka Cola is one that I think of that I was going to put in the video, but went back with my original thought here, and there's probably a couple more as well. They have a ton of fragrances. If you look through their catalog, it is extensive. They've been around for a long time. I don't have anywhere close to all of them, but I do have all of the main core Mancera scents and a few random ones here and there. Stuff like Wild Fruits and Sicily, those are great scents. Not quite to that perfect 10 category, but they are really good. Wave Musk, and there's just a lot of ones that are really, really great for the price. But Intense Cedrat Boise, or even just the original Cedrat Boise, for me is so well done. There's nothing I would change about the Intense version. Now, a lot of people would say that for the EDP, they would change the performance, and that's what they did here with this Intense version. So this is it. This is the one that I would grab. If I was only going to buy or own one Mancera fragrance, it would be Intense Cedrat Boise, but ideally it would be nice to be able to own 3-4 of them, because they do have some great offerings that could be used across a wide variety of situations. This next one is Kilian Apple Brandy. This one has oak, vanilla, and cedarwood. I absolutely love this stuff. This and Straight to Heaven are two of my all-time favorites from the brand, and also two of my all-time favorite fragrances in general. There is something about this that is so realistic smelling, so much detail, so much depth behind it, even though the note breakdown is very minimal. I mean, you don't get a whole lot more provided to you outside of what I read off. The scent is just, it is leaps and bounds above so many other things that I've tried, both designer and niche. So apple brandy, you do get this sweet apple smell, and then this boozy brandy kind of oak barrel aged accord as well. They go hand in hand to create something that legitimately smells like apple brandy. You know, this is one that I think a lot of people might be a little bit on the fence about because of how realistic it smells, you know, and you might not necessarily want to smell like this in every situation. But at the same time, it's not to the point where it smells like you just dumped a bunch of liquor all over yourself. It's blended to the point where it is still a wearable scent that you could get a lot of use out of and enjoy, particularly in the cooler months. Fall and winter is when I would be reaching for this one. Given the level of sweetness that this has, I'm probably going to be waiting more towards October, you know, towards the end of the month to really start wearing this one. I like it to be cool outside, cool and windy, and really feel like fall and winter to pull this one off. But it is, without a doubt, a 10 out of 10 masterpiece, work of art, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the price is on discounters anymore. It should be a little under $200 or right around that price point, because I do believe the retail is, I don't know, north of $240. So you could definitely save some money, but to me it's so worth it. If you don't want to blind buy it, I understand. I would try to sample it somewhere, online, in person, whatever, but it is worth experiencing this at least once. So we're gonna knock out another niche fragrance here real quick, and then we've got some more designers and stuff to follow after this. I'm just trying to, you know, work through these. So they're expensive, but they're, you know, they're ones I would give a 10 out of 10. It's Creed Millesime Imperial. Kind of an OG, definitely a classic, been around for a very long time. This is part of the core Creed fragrances. This, of course, Aventus, Silver Mountain Water, you know, I'm missing a couple, Royal Oud and stuff, but just all of the main Creeds that everybody knows about, and a lot of people who own Creed will own, and this is definitely one of them. This one has fruity notes, sea salt, sea notes, bergamot, lemon. It's basically all about the fruity notes in particular, this melon type of accord going along with the watery notes or sea notes and that saltiness. It's like salty watermelon is kind of what it would smell like, but it was a different scent at one point in time. Old batches of Millesime Imperial, more so around launch year and a few years after, really doubled down on that salty melon accord, even more so than this, which is already a bit of an older bottle. This is, I actually can't even read that anymore, probably 2016, 2017 era. It's 120 ml, so it can't be any newer. And then newer batches following this. It doesn't have the same level of salty fruitiness, although it is still there. Not to discredit the scent though, because it still is amazing. And at this point, there are many clones you could go for. Sean John Unforgivable is one that comes to mind that's really pretty popular, and there's quite a few more that take after this DNA. Some get closer than others, but there are options if you don't want to spend the money. You know, these days, the price on some of these Creeds have come down a little on discounters. They just, well, they're not quite as in demand anymore. And with all the changes, both in the smell, the formulation, and the bottles, you could argue that maybe that's weakened the appeal of the brand maybe a little bit. And so, yeah, these you can get for well under $200 now on most discounters, and that's 100 ml full presentation. There's always the ability to get testers without cap, I believe, for a bit less. But these are becoming more and more obtainable as we have a lot more niche brands that are becoming more popular and also more expensive. It's an easy 10 out of 10 work of art for me. Yes, there are a lot of things that emulate it, but that's kind of where it started. At least it was one of the ones that kicked off that type of smell and made it very popular. I hesitate to say that they started it because Creed has been known for, well, kind of borrowing ideas before. They've done it with a few of their most renowned scents, Green Irish Tweed and stuff like that. So it is what it is, but that one definitely got popular. This next one is Mugler's Angel Men. Just the original. Now, if I was making this video 7, 8 years ago, I probably would have put in, you know, something like Pure Havane, Pure Malt, something along those lines. Not that this is not a 10 out of 10 because it is, but those other ones to me are easy 10 out of 10s. They are amazing and very hard to get nowadays, but at one point they were 50 bucks all day long on discounters. I wish it was still like that, and I wish I would have, you know, bought more than what I did, because I just don't have a lot of those. So it has coffee, patchouli, caramel, vanilla, tonka bean, a whole bunch of stuff. Basically, it's more of a gourmand style scent here, but with a pretty powerful and strong backbone too. This one, it has a lot going on, more than you might expect. And for some people, they might not like it. I've heard of comparisons similar to kind of having this type of tar smell or this tar texture to some extent. It's one of the things I've heard, I believe, and I don't know, there's been a few other things, and when you do smell it, man, it is definitely packs a punch, and I can see where some people might not like it because it is kind of out of the ordinary. Keep in mind, this is not a new scent, been out for, I think it's probably, what, 25 years now or more, maybe. I thought it was a 1999 release, but either here nor there, been out for a long time. Still holds its own to me. Definitely has stood the test of time. And yes, there are a lot of other fragrances these days that are just going in a different direction. To me, this is still one that you could easily pull off, and it's just unique as all get out too. So definitely one that I rate a perfect 10, and on discounters, it's usually pretty affordable. This next one is Spicebomb Extreme. You know, it's got the tobacco, the vanilla, of course, the black pepper. Easy. Work of art, masterpiece, 10 out of 10. They all are in this video, so I don't need to say it, but I will anyway. This is one of the most, I don't know, kind of holiday smelling scents that I have. This one really just smells like that time of year. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all of that happens within a pretty short distance of each other, and then they all go away, right? Then you get into January and it's just cold and you don't really have much else to look forward to besides like spring and summer, really. So just right around the holiday season, this one is what I go for. Kind of a festive smelling scent is what the term I was looking for earlier. One of the most festive smelling fragrances that I have in my collection. I don't know what it is about it, but it just reminds me of that time. Kind of almost has this Christmas tree type of smell to it as well, kind of like a Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille. This doesn't smell like that, but it kind of has a, I don't know, just the illusion of a bit of a Christmas tree type of smell, and I get some of that from here too for whatever reason. But I find it to be very wearable for the fall and winter time. When it gets warm, I'm putting this away, but anytime that it's cold, you can wear Spicebomb Extreme, and you get great performance out of it as well. Let's go for Parfums de Marly Carlisle up next. One of my favorites from the brand. This one has tonka bean, patchouli, vanilla, opopanax, and that's basically the main idea behind this one. Now, when you smell it, it might remind you of something a little bit. Maybe a little bit of Mancera red tobacco, perhaps. Even though they don't list off tobacco in here, it gives off a bit of a smoky pipe tobacco type of smell. Now, nowhere near as strong as red tobacco, not even close. Surprisingly, this is way more smooth, a little bit more sweet, and I wouldn't say more refined, but it is a much more wearable scent. It's a lot more expensive, that's the downside, but it is something that I feel as though you could pull off in a wider variety of situations, because red tobacco is pretty extreme, and you kind of have to be a bit prepared for that one. Now, make no mistake, Carlisle is still strong. When we're talking performance, this one gets it done. It's a 12+ hour longevity scent. Projection is good. It's nowhere near as strong as red tobacco. And again, just red tobacco is a much more overbearing scent, whereas this one is a little bit more under the radar, but still definitely has plenty of body to it as well. So it is sweet from that vanilla, and it does have a little bit of a kind of a spicy kick, a little bit earthy as well, kind of resinous. The way I would describe this one is kind of a mysterious smelling. If I had to use one word, that would be one that I would go for. Mysterious, and then maybe kind of elegant in a way too, just because of this premium smell that it gives off. There's a lot to love about Carlisle. Now, it's nowhere near as, you know, an easy of a choice as something like Leighton, which everybody's going to love. This one's a little bit more specific, but if you like this sort of thing, then you would like this. Go for Tom Ford Beau de Jour up next. You know, I love a good aromatic fougere. especially ones like this that are modern smelling. Now this came out, well, actually, this one came out in 2020. I don't remember what year Beau de Jour Private Blend came out. Probably been out for a while, but they have re-released a lot of those private blends into this lineup, and they made them more affordable, like ombre leather, and I don't know, I'm blanking on a couple others that I have, but you know, they've done that, and it makes them more obtainable, and for the most part, the scents stay pretty unmodified. They don't really change them to a point where it's worth trying to get the private blend instead, at least to me. This one has lavender, oak moss, rosemary, patchouli, as you could imagine, just everything you would expect from an aromatic fougere barbershop style scent. It has all of that stuff. Green, aromatic. This one, a little bit soapy, not as much as some others, but it's also not as earthy and green as some others either. This one takes a very neutral approach to the barbershop style of scent. It doesn't go too far in the modern, kind of updated direction, but it doesn't go too far in the real old school, like YSL Rive Gauche vintage direction either. This one takes the middle ground, and it does a good job at just remaining appealing to everybody, really. For the most part, there are going to be some people who still think it smells old, but I would say generally you're going to be playing it pretty safe with something like this. You spray it on and you're set for any situation, formal or casual. This next one is Acqua di Gio Parfum by Armani, of course. I'm not going to spend any time on this one because you know it already, but just know for me it's a 10 out of 10, no questions asked. We are going to finish this video on L'Homme Eau de Parfum. You guys know about this one as well. I've talked about it quite a bit. Not a hyped up scent at all, at least outside of me mentioning it, and probably a few others as well. But other than that, it's not a popular one. It's nowhere near La Nuit de l'Homme, or even some of its flankers as well. It kind of is a little bit under the radar, but the note breakdown is very appealing to me. Bitter orange, lavender, cognac, oak, cedarwood as well. So basically it's a boozy, kind of more so woody inspired take on the original L'Homme, because you still get the original L'Homme smell, just with the cognac and basically the focus on the woody notes. It's sweeter, it's a little bit more seductive, a little bit more kind of spicy as well. It's the great nighttime alternative to the original L'Homme to me. This retails for, I think it's $138 or something, $140. I looked it up before the video. But on discounters, you're typically right at around $100, maybe just a bit over $100. Sometimes like in the $90 range, just somewhere around in there. Basically, if it's under $138, you're doing good. You should be paying that or more, unless you just wanted to for some reason. An easy 10 out of 10 for me. The original L'Homme is also a 10 out of 10 for me. I love that stuff, but this Eau de Parfum is a very, very refined and calculated flanker that just makes so much sense. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for me. If I had to choose 10 fragrances to give a perfect rating, these would be the ones that I would go for. Obviously, they came to mind first. Links will be down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.